You're listening to Talk of Champions, an Ole Miss Spirit podcast with Ben Garrett.
It's time! It's time! It's time! It's time! It's time!
Hello again, friends, and welcome inside, at least for me, not for Bradley Sowell, RiverLand Roofing Studios, a little house up top, RiverLand Roofing, for all your roofing needs. It's RiverLandRoofing.com, 662-644-4297. They power Talk of Champions. This podcast brought to you by the Ole Miss Spirit, OleMissSpirit.com, affiliate of On 3, and on with me, former Ole Miss offensive lineman, 8-year NFL vet, Bradley Sowell, live from his office. Bradley, Ole Miss basketball. This is the fun thing. Brad and I ended up texting last night during the game as Ole Miss, number 21 Ole Miss beats number 4 Alabama, goes to Tuscaloosa. First top 5 win on the road in Ole Miss basketball history. I talked to Murphy Holloway as well. Murph is going to be coming on the podcast maybe today, if not today, tomorrow. But Brad, who has not always been the biggest Ole Miss basketball guy, totally wrapped up in the first top 5 road win in Ole Miss basketball history. We had him back on to kind of get his feet back wet in this podcast game after Ole Miss's work following the season, Ole Miss football and some portal stuff. But now some basketball, some Bradley Sowell basketball analyst. We're going to give it a shot. Hey, buddy, what's up?
Dude, I mean, am I a bandwagon fan or what? I think I may be slightly an Ole Miss bandwagon fan. So I was talking to Ben last night. And I said, hey, I guess I haven't been this in Ole Miss basketball since Raheem Lockhart. And he was like, nah, dude, Marshall Henderson. So that's about right. Marshall Henderson days. I don't know, man. I've been watching this team. I've been enjoying watching them play. I mean, the way they play defense is incredible. Dia was unreal last night. I mean, I don't know if I've ever seen him play that good. He's a good ball player, but what he did last night was crazy. He looked like a freaking NBA player out there. So once we went up by 10 with about 9 minutes to go, I called you and I said, are we about to do this? Are we really about to do this? And sure enough, before we hung up, we were only up by 4. So I was like, all right, I need to chill out. So no, good job. I mean, I think the thing is the way they defended them all, or the way they held them off. I mean, that they kept that little separation just when you thought, hey, a team like Alabama will explode and come back and win the game or get the lead back and win. We just kept holding them off, and we kept, at the end of the game, they were fouling, making the free throws. So it was a cool effort. Defensive team. I mean, that's as good as defense as you can play right there. Holding a team like Alabama, who averages 91 points a night, to they go 60, whatever. I'm in. I'm excited about this. Holy crap!
Yeah, it's fun because this is the kind of team that Ole Miss basketball fans have been wanting for so long, right? A team that could go and these are things that haven't happened before, like going and win on the road at number 4 Alabama. That's just not something Ole Miss basketball has ever done before. So to see it happen in real time, and for Ole Miss then in the post game, hear from Chris Beard and Malik Dia both say, you got Ole Miss media going, hey, the significance of the win, and they're like, nah, man, that's just the 4th SEC win. We don't think of it that way. It's really fun to watch the dichotomy between Ole Miss fans who are experiencing things for the first time with basketball and
0-34. 0-34 versus top 5. I obviously I saw them on ESPN like everybody else, but 0-34 versus top 5 teams. Anytime you go 1 in something, it's like that's pretty good. I mean, 0-34 is a lot of tries at it. To end up getting a win on that column that's big time. I mean, that's awesome. That's great that we're where we are, and the landscape for our athletics is crazy. I mean, you got basketball's now legit, football's legit. I mean, where are we at right now? We're spoiled, is what it is.
Yeah,
we're spoiled.
It was fun because I've known Brad a long time, and you're not the biggest basketball guy. To see the shift, because that's what, again, Chris Beard was brought to Ole Miss to do, to not only make Ole Miss competitive in these type of games, but to win these type of games, and to hear him in the post game say, oh, I don't think it's historic at all. It's just the 4th SEC win. Let's go. That's exactly what me and Brad have talked about, that business, 10 toes down, standing on it. And Chris Beard and company beat Alabama at Alabama, number 4 Alabama, the first top 5 road win in Ole Miss basketball history. What's funny, though, is like you and I were talking about this during the game. Man, we've ridden through some Ole Miss. Like, I've loved Ole Miss basketball for as long as I can remember. It's probably my first love even before football. And all I'm thinking is Tommy Eddy walked so that Malik Dia could run last night with 23 points and 19 rebounds. I'm thinking about Jozon Darby, Jason Harrison. I'm thinking about this team, when you look at it, it's filled with NBA players, and almost knew it had an NBA player in Malik Dia in the spring. But to see it is pretty surreal, considering, like, I remember how hard it's always been, right? And for Ole Miss to go into Alabama, a team ranked number 4 in the country, and not just beat them because they started slow, but to totally take control of it, it gives you a lot of optimism and enthusiasm about what this team could be. Because, again, like you mentioned, top scoring offense in the country, had scored 70 points or more 53 straight games, and you hold them to 64 at their place. This is the kind of stuff that travels and wins postseason games. So for the NCAA tournament starved Ole Miss and having to cling to Clarence Sanders against LSU, making that one shot when it didn't come in NCAA tournament appearance season, this is a different time. This is a different place.
There's no question. I mean, and I'm hoping this isn't the case. It may be, but the shift to SEC may be a basketball conference now. With Ohio State and dig up Notre Dame in the championship. I mean, what this conference has now is insane. If you look at the schedule, when I looked at the schedule, I'm not going to lie, just full disclosure, I looked at the schedule. I said, well, hell, we're going to lose the next 3 or 4 in a row. This before the Alabama game. I was like, it's going to be tough to win on the road, those games. And sure enough, you win one. So, yeah, this SEC is insane when it comes to basketball right now. And it's to be competing where we are. You would think if it luckily we got a Chris Beard and who's turned this program around. But in this new landscape, SEC basketball, had we not had that change, it could be brutal for Ole Miss. Considering where we came from basketball history wise.
Every single one of the 16 team SEC are ranked in the top 100 in the net rankings. I don't argue with you that maybe this is becoming a basketball school, especially when you consider how Ole Miss and the rest of the SEC, well, Ole Miss did its job in the postseason, but didn't get to the playoff. But how the SEC performed in the playoff, yeah, kind of. I mean, Ole Miss fans need to get on board here because, look, this basketball team just went and did something that in basketball is harder to do than any other sport. Go and winning a game on another team's home floor, especially when they're ranked like that. I think Nate Oates had won 83% of his games at Alabama. This is unheard of stuff. So yeah, maybe Ole Miss. Well,
are we even counting Texas as an SEC team yet? Like, they still have guys on their team that played in the Big 12. Like, that's the thing. Did the SEC even make the Final Four this year? I mean, I guess we can count Texas on paper, but their inventory is still very Big 12. They have not gotten quite, their roster hasn't quite flopped over. There's guys that played in the Big 12 in this roster. So yeah, I don't know. In my mind, the SEC didn't even make the Final Four this year. So we'll accept Texas in a couple of years once they've been in it for a while. So. Yeah, I don't know. It's painful. I can tell you right now, the hardest game to watch is going to be Ohio State versus Notre Dame, just because we know that's what that's what everybody wants, the national stage wants. But there's not a person in the South that wants to watch that. There's not a single person that wants to watch that, except maybe Ben.
Me, only because Marcus Freeman has done the impossible and made Notre Dame likable.
I will say that.
He's made Notre Dame likable. So I could totally get on board with Notre Dame winning a championship.
So I thought Marcus Freeman was kind of soft nature. Did you see him in the tunnel, that video of him in the tunnel?
Dude.
Yeah. Good luck walking up on Marcus Freeman. Dude he may be one of those guys who real silent, but what I saw before the game, him pumping his guys up, I'm all in. Dude, I like some Marcus Freeman. Now, he's one of those dudes who's not going to say a whole lot out, not quite like the complete opposite of the Indiana coach. But when he gets in that, I guarantee when he gets in that locker room, when he gets around the guys, he's got some dog in him, and I like that a lot about him.
Former Ohio State linebacker, and man, you talk about being about business. Marcus Freeman's about business. But that's what's so fun is because watching the college football playoff for me has been just every single time. Oh, well, Ole Miss is better than this team at that. Ole Miss would have given this team a game with here. You know what I mean? I watched it from the angle of Ole Miss should be there. And it's hard for me to get over the fact that Ole Miss lost 3 games. So basketball getting to this place competitively, because for the longest it was just, well, Ole Miss is winning 20 games. It can't make the NCAA tournament. Now this team is not thinking, oh, make the NCAA tournament. They're thinking about 1-0, their business like and all that kind of thing. But they're built to really make a run in the NCAA tournament. So when you're coming off a year when you think that Ole Miss football was last riding and all that kind of stuff, oh, the title chance, they blew it, blah, 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 blah. Basketball could do something. They did. But basketball could do something that it has never done before, or at least match when you look at this team and how it's played, especially against or at number 4 Alabama. This team could match the greatest accomplishment in Ole Miss basketball history, and I don't think any of us would bat an eye. One Sweet 16 appearance. This team just went to Alabama and shut that team down. Yeah. So turning Ole Miss basketball from not just football is over, what do we do, to this is the basketball program y'all been wanting. This is exactly what you wanted Ole Miss basketball to look like operationally, building the roster out with the Grove Collective, competitively with Chris Beard, Malik Diaz, an NBA player, 23-19 for a team that isn't particularly big, and he stepped up with 3 straight dominant performances. That part of it I couldn't shake. It's like, oh yeah, I'm glad Ole Miss basketball is doing this for a number of reasons. One, it's been a long time coming, but two, man, watching the college football playoff, it's frustrating as hell. I'm not going to lie to you.
That's all I've done. I've been a whiny little baby the whole time. I'm watching this and listen, this is another reason I like Marcus Freeman, because Notre Dame isn't the most whoppingly talented team. The quarterback he's a damn fire drill every time. I mean, he's not some special quarterback. They have nothing on that team that says, hey, wow, they're unbelievable, other than they play sound and tough. And I watch Notre Dame, Penn State. I'm like, what? Penn State's D-line would give us hell. I will tell you that right now. We would struggle to block Penn State, which they would struggle to block us as well. Be a very low-scoring game. But I'm watching all these other teams, and I mean, damn. I honestly, when Ole Miss was at their best versus Georgia, there's not, other than Ohio State, it's not a close game with any of these teams. And that's what's been frustrating the whole playoffs for me, just watching. And I'm going to get over it eventually, I think.
No, you're not.
I'm probably not, just because it was a Kentucky loss. But no, yeah, I've been watching the whole time like a little baby, a whiny baby. And you get down in the bottom bracket, which sucks for Oregon. So the top bracket was unreal in this playoff. Mm-hmm. Texas, Ohio State, and Oregon all in the same. And Ohio State's an 8 seed, and they're the best team by far, in it. So I don't know. It's just, had we got a bottom in that bottom bracket, I mean, you cannot tell me we wouldn't be playing this week. And that's full red and blue glasses plus what I think is true.
The disgust in your voice when you talk about it is quite hilarious. It's great. Like, we start so happily talking about basketball and beating the number 4 team in the country on the road. They got number 14 Mississippi State at the hump on Saturday. State that lost last night to top-ranked Auburn.
Roughly half a mile from the house.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Do you drive over now? Have you ever been a traveler for Ole Miss basketball? And also, considering your history now a former Ole Miss Rebel and Mississippi State Bulldog, do you drive over and wear some red and blue? Cheer on the Reb Saturday at the hump?
Man, I'll probably watch out from the house with some good food. With some good food.
Cowardly. How dare you? You go up there, you show Chris Beard and then what you're all about. But anyway, I love that this team, like I said, is doing something that hadn't been seen before, but looking forward and moving forward. What excites you the most about what Ole Miss basketball could be? Because it's fun to win a big game like this, but this team is built for that run, for the NCAA tournament run, for really competing for a championship. That sounds crazy, but defense travels. And Ole Miss has one of the very best defenses in college basketball. They're one of the very best teams in the country as far as not turning the ball over. One of the nation's leaders in turnover margin. When you hear about Chris Beard talk about their style of play, a certain way to win, it's grimy. It's grinding them down. They shot 38% from the floor at a top 5 team's place and still won by double digits. That tells you that kind of defense is next level. They've bought in. But for you, the rebirth of your basketball fandom, right? After everything you went through for a year, that's really fun. What do you think this team could be?
It's going to be weird caring about basketball in March. I mean, most of the time in March, we haven't, as Ole Miss fans, we haven't had the luxury of those some odd years to even care what's going on, because by the time that comes around, we're out of it. I think the key is just going to be health with this team. I think last night when Dia went out of the game, obviously it was a little different there for a minute. I guess he had cramps, but I think as long as Dia stays healthy and plays the way he's been playing, then Padula is, he's just, man, he's really smart with the ball, knows what to do with it. And I think it's going to be health. We obviously can't have any injuries. I do think we're a deep team, but I think Dia is a damn, he's got to be in there when playing the Alabamas and the better teams. But I think it's just going to be health is going to be the key, and it's going to be exciting to be, March to actually be paying attention in the tournament. But I think defense is, I want to see what we look like when we play that kind of defense and shoot better. Hell, I think we beat the hell out of Alabama last night. We shot a little better. But same can be said for them as well. They missed a lot of shots last night as well. So, no, I just think that it's, health's going to play a big part in our run, and I'm just excited to see what they end up doing.
Yeah, it was so fun to go to the NCAA tournament in Kansas City back with Marshall in 2013, but it was more about Ole Miss was finally back in the NCAA tournament. The getting there was the accomplishment, right? So whatever came afterwards was cake. Now, a 12 beating a 5, Ole Miss beating Wisconsin. It was fun to watch and everything, but then to lose to LaSalle when you're going to the Sweet 16. This is a team that they're not going to be satisfied just getting to the NCAA tournament. Look at how they are built, right? Yeah. I mean, these are 10 seniors, but only 6 returning players. And the 2 players that you really remember from last year, Matthew Morrell and Jamin Brakefield, they deserve a ton of credit because, 1, they've stayed. They've been here both for 4 years at least. And 2, they have adjusted the way they play. You see Jamin Brakefield coming off the bench, Matthew Morrell doing the dirty work. He's fighting to save balls out of bounds. It's not just about being the number 1 scoring option, because Ole Miss can have 5 guys score double figures. The balance of this team and the veteran nature of it with the seniors and the 2 guys in Matthew Morrell and Jamin Brakefield who've been here a long time, it gives you a lot of confidence that this isn't just flash in the pan. There is no flash in this pan. They've been playing this way all year, and they're only getting better. They're actually peaking at the right time. Usually you're used to seeing Ole Miss kind of hit a wall in January. Malik Digg doing 23 and 19. That's what really excites me. And to see the rebirth of Ole Miss basketball enthusiasm is exciting, because I remember it used to – Ole Miss fans used to pack out the Tad Pad every single time they played. And that's when they knew that they weren't going to the NCAA tournament. Now, it wasn't for Sam Houston State, but that LSU game when Clarence Sanders hit that 3 in the corner off an assist from Brian Smith, man, to hear it like that, Ole Miss basketball can be one of those teams, and now you're starting to see Ole Miss fans kind of respond to it. And I think that's the thing that really excites me, because, again, that was probably my first sports love, was Ole Miss basketball. I'd be in the backyard playing as Jozon Darby and Jason Smith and like Raheem Lockhart.
I'd love to see that jump shot, man. You got some good form or no?
I've got a good form, but like it's very much the fat guy shooting. You don't ever leave the floor.
Just the standard whitey tighty with the elbow tight and.
Yeah. There's no driving to the basket. The times I do drive to the basket, 1, the handle's terrible, and 2, I get really bad out of breath. But anyway, I bet you got some bunnies
or no? You got some hops or no?
Let me ask you, do you think Bradley Sowell, your friend Ben Garrett, has hops? Be honest.
I don't know, man. There could be some.
You being pretty good at ball, though.
I'm okay. I mean, when I played in high school, I was decent. I'm just like any other Mississippi kid. We all had that damn hoop with the bent rim and the shitty net on it. And that's what we did. We played basketball, and it was baseball season. We played wiffle ball, and it was football. We played tackle football. So by default, not having any money to do anything else, you're pretty damn good at most of sports. That's pretty much all you did growing up. And there's a lot of kids out there in our state that this is what they do. And that's why it's some of the better ball around. When you go out, I'm getting this travel ball world that I'm in now, you see, some tough ass kids from certain areas, and same thing in school ball. That's what these kids do in our state. That's why we are who we are. So, I can play a little bit, but it was by default. You sit out there with a damn bent rim hoop for hours on hours. You better be to figure out how to do something.
Yeah, I bet you could get down there in a block, do a little post up and stuff like that. But it's kind of speaking to what I was saying. It's like to see you excited, to see Ole Miss fans responding. What can Ole Miss fans, in your opinion, guys like you, what can you do? Like, because it's easy to give, $25 because you're excited for a linebacker because football is your first love. But after a win like that, your programs, like Brad said, are performing to that level. So give and support. I mean, now you've got exactly what you wanted. The only thing left for Ole Miss fans to do is just to show up and to support them, because there's some historic things going down.
No question. I know last night, whenever we were up by 10, when Alabama went on that 4-0 run, think about what it sounded like on TV, what that crowd did to that team. And, I think that's just the thing with us, Ole Miss, just showing up, supporting. Obviously, financially, I'll tell you right now, and it's hard to wrap your head around it, but Ole Miss is in the SEC. I think they're one of the cooler schools to go to. Now that money's all even playing field. It's to me, I think I think this is gonna continue. I think the rise of Ole Miss is just starting. So I think last night with the when you saw that crowd go crazy at Alabama, we just got to make sure we're that. I think as long as we're that and support that, support our school, I think that we'll have a chance to maintain this and actually be, big time SEC program. I think with the way NIL is now, I don't think there's any reason why Ole Miss isn't one of the better schools to go to in what I guess you would call the smaller markets, other than Austin. Every town's pretty relatively similar. So it'd be hard to pass up Ole Miss right now.
Here's the challenge: Lane Kiffin and Chris Beard is the best two coaches for football and basketball in Ole Miss history. Like, the best on campus together. Those are the two. There's never been a better pairing than those two for football and basketball in Ole Miss basketball history, both in accomplishment and their resumes. Does Ole Miss have the best football basketball pairing in the country right now? Or is that crazy?
It's close. I think that we're as good as anybody in both sports. And I think football, God dang it, don't get me pissed again, but football should be going and playing this week is what they should be doing. You can't trick off a Kentucky game. You had every game won this season and should have won. LSU 4th down, had Kentucky damn 4th down in a million to a guy we need to buy an NIL, honestly. And then, hell, Florida, you're controlling that game. You just got to make some catches. So football is frustrating, but 9-3 frustrating is just telling you, hey, we're on a different level. So, it'd be hard pressed to find a better duo right now.
Yeah, it would be. I was trying to go through my brain, rack my brain.
I guess Alabama football would be, but not to their standard, though. Alabama, I think, is on the decline. I really do.
Kalen DeBoer or Lane Kiffin's a much different conversation than Lane Kiffin and Nick Saban. It's a different world, and Ole Miss is thriving in that different world, including in basketball. Let me ask you this before I let you go, because Brad only gets to visit with us every once in a while now because he's such a busy man. Look at him in his very professional office over there. All right, so you've seen what Ole Miss has done in the portal. What do you like about what they've done? What have they not done enough of? They finally got some offensive linemen, or got another one in Percy Lewis. You've been wanting that. When you look at what Ole Miss has done, and you look at the early depth chart, Austin Simmons, QB1, wide receivers, Dejon Stribling, we could go through all of it. What do you like about them? Where do they need to improve? And what are your expectations on January 15th, 2024?
I think they need to keep even when you feel like we have enough O linemen, just like last year we thought we had enough. I would keep the big. One thing that I think is very common, if you look at teams in the playoffs, even the teams with the bad skill have good O lines. You look at that Penn State O line, what they were doing the other night. You got to keep building the O line, D line. We can figure out the rest. I think wide receivers have been great in the portal for us. I think we got some really good dudes there. I think we got some great young guys coming in. As well. So I think that's where we're going to be loaded with Austin Simmons. I still want to know. I still want us to get a big time running back. I do think the kid, Shield McKnight or something like, or whatever, Trey Ball, those guys I've studied. They're good. They're good ball players. We need a proven running back of some sort. Now, hoping Diggs, obviously comes back and his knee's okay, but I think O-line, D-line, just got to keep pounding away. You cannot have enough, because you can get 3 O-linemen, 4 O-linemen, but 2 can get hurt, then you're back to where you were. So I just think just keep on pounding that O-line, keep pounding the O-line. We trust Kiff on the skill people, and it's never going to be an issue. Wide receiver, I mean, we just keep reloading there, and that's not going to be an issue. But I just think the O-line, D-lines, man. I mean, that's what's going to get you in the playoffs. That's what's going to make you maintain. You look at Notre Dame, Penn State; they're in nuts special about their skilled players, but dadgum, they can block and they can play some damn defense. So that's what's going to get you there. Now, if you can do that plus the skill that we get, I think that's going to be the secret sauce. And I also think this season, if our O-line was a little better, it would have been a cakewalk to get there. But not saying that they were. I still don't think they're bad. I didn't think they were bad this year. I just thought they were very average compared to the rest of the team. And that's trying to make a championship run, that's just tough to have an average group. So that's what we got to do, man. O-line, D-line's going to get us there. And that's where I think Kiffin hasn't been as good as with our O-line. But obviously that's everybody has something they need to work on. So that's obviously where we need to get to be where our O-line is something different. Record
prediction on January 15th.
Man, I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't know. Like it's all going to depend on Simmons. Looking at the schedule's not brutal. It's not a brutal football schedule, unless some teams vastly improve. So I mean, I'm going to live at 8-4 right now, just because new quarterback. Same thing Dart did his first year. I'm going to live at 8-4 with expectations the following year being through the roof again.
Ole Miss basketball, does it make the NCAA tournament? If it does it match its greatest achievement in history, one Sweet 16 appearance, which sounds now when you watch this team like, yeah, they could do that. Of course they could. Yeah.
No, I think they do. And I think the reason why that they could go far is because the competition they're playing is going to have them more than ready. That's one thing about the SEC this year. If you're able to get through it and get in the tournament with a decent seed, I think you're going to have played the best teams you can play in the country. Or teams similar to the best teams in the country. So, I think if they get in, there's a chance. If they get the right seed, I think there's a chance they could go pretty deep.
See, I was rolling my eyes for the longest because John Rothstein, other national media guys, have mentioned how a lot of similarities between this Ole Miss team in 2018-19 Texas Tech under Chris Beard, which didn't have a ton of expectations, made it to the Final Four. Now, Final Four sounds lofty, and I'm not going to say that Ole Miss is going to make the Final Four because they've never done that before. But I will say, watching them against Arkansas or at Alabama, I don't know why I keep saying Arkansas, watching them at Alabama, you get it. Because that defense and style of play is always going to travel. Shot 38% at number 4's place and still beat them by double digits. That's a team that's going to be in every single game they play. Ole Miss basketball is doing big things this Saturday at the Hump in Starkville, right next door to Mr. Bradley Sowell. So he's going to have to run over there and, wears Ole Miss gear. Or maybe do you wear now like the split, Ole Miss and State, like a house divided shirt? Is that what you wear now?
No, with my kids, they don't know any different. My boys, they just wear their state uniform out in the yard, and one's a damn Packers player, one's a damn state player. It doesn't matter. They wear it all. So, I may have moved here at a time where it called on to my youngest because he's a bulldog, and he's a bulldog in his head. So, Brad.
You've broken the line, Brad. No.
Yeah. Well, hopefully he's a damn good baseball player or something. I can maybe get on board with somebody playing state baseball.
I would love to watch you in the outfield at the dude. Kind of drinking, watching your baby. Well, I've seen you, like, for example.
Is it controversial to say that the dude is there's really nothing like it?
Swayze Field.
And dude, the dude is crazy. I was shocked. I've never been before in my life. I don't obviously go to. My wife will not let me go to state events before coming here because of what happened in college when Matt Hall's brother, decked whatever the whole story where he got arrested. So I've been banned to come here for a long time.
Wait, what?
Yeah, so you didn't know after the state game. My senior year, somebody rung a cowbell in Matt Hall's mom's face, and he like decked the dude and went to jail.
I remember that.
Yeah, and so obviously my wife's mom, being friends with Matt Hall's mom, she stayed and got him out of jail. And I was like, that's all my wife ever knew. I mean, she's a Texas girl, so that's all she ever knew about Starkville. So she was like, "Your crazy ass is never going to an away game because I'm not picking you up from jail." So now we live here, and my kids are totally fine. My youngest son is totally a state football player out in the yard every day.
Oh, give him a number 49 red and blue jersey. Say, this is real football. This is Patrick Willis. You know, like you can get because you're their dad. You can't give them your jersey. They don't care. Like my kids don't think I'm cool at all. You know what I mean? Like nothing I do is right. So like even with your playing career, no, we're like, and the only way to win him back from state, man.
Well, is weird. My youngest is weird, dude. He's either Lionel Messi, which who the hell has ever played soccer in my family? I mean, I couldn't play soccer from the time I was 10. I was like 145 pounds. I'd already outgrown soccer when I was like 9 years old. So the soccer was never even an issue. I would have literally thrown up Pop-Tarts. Like there's no way I could ever play soccer. And now he's like Lionel Messi, and he's actually like kind of good. I'm like, what in the hell? And then he's a state football player. So I don't know where this kid's gonna. I don't even know what the deal is. He's Lionel Messi. Get him. A state football player.
You better get him out on the boards and say you're a what fan, you know, and then y'all meet, and he goes state. No, back on the boards, you know, and just teach him, you know. Or let the son live his life. It's fine. I'm just playing, but also that's hilarious. If the one thing that Bradley Sowell has to live with for his short stint as a Mississippi State Bulldog is that his son is forever one, oh my gosh, that's hilarious. That would be amazing because you're a bigger Ole Miss fan than anybody I know. Like Brad's obsessed with this crap. That's why it was so funny FaceTiming me during the number 4 or number 21 Ole Miss winning and beating number 4 Alabama. It was just like you are the biggest Ole Miss fan I know. So for a son of state would be hilarious.
That would be funny. But he better play baseball. I can maybe handle that.
He's Bradley Sowell, former Ole Miss offensive lineman, 8-year NFL vet. Ole Miss basketball, one of the very biggest wins in its history. A win at number 4 Alabama on Tuesday night. Got in-state rival Mississippi State, ranked number 14 in the country, at their place on Saturday. But Ole Miss has a defense that travels. And we'll see. We'll be along for the ride the entire time. If Ole Miss makes it back to the NCAA tournament, it would be just the 10th NCAA tournament appearance in its 100-plus year history. Yeah. These are different times. Get on board, and we'll be right here with you at Talk of Champions. Our thanks to RiverLand Roofing, the little house up top, riverlandroofing.com, 662-644-4297 for all your roofing needs. Thank you, Brad. We'll do it again.
See you, man. Howdy toddy.